Hello, hello.
Oh, hey, are we live?
I believe we are live.
Oh, look at that. Feels good.
Yeah.
Feels good, man.
Yeah, we're
This is what I
here.
needed this week. Just as it.
Me too. This is the
Yeah?
second podcast I've done this week. And
Tell us about the first.
first
Do a
one,
little, do a little plug.
a little plug. I was on, it's not out yet, but Victims, and I'm a Marvel correspondent for Victims. So we talked about D23 last night. And I'll be uploading that to YouTube tonight.
So give us a little teaser. Are you excited? Are you not excited? Do you care? Do you not care? The lightning bolts or thunderbolts?
Thunderbolt surprised me. I was not expecting Bucky and Red Guardian to be in the cast of that.
Yeah.
So that surprised me. But
And we got a teaser for Secret War.
Secret Invasion, yes.
That one. How does that look? I didn't see it.
Looks good. No superheroes.
Yeah.
It's Samuel L. Jackson and Khaleesi. Like,
Oh, that's it? It's just them?
no, but what else do you need?
That's fair. You know what? Fair.
Well, your Hobbit guys in there too, Bilbo. So
Yeah, yes. That makes me happy. Good.
let's just get into it.
Why not? Let's do it.
Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan.
And I'm Devin.
And today we are talking about the 2004 Kevin Smith film, Jersey Girl. Clerks 3 is hitting theaters this week in the way that Kevin Smith films do. So we're going to talk about Kevin Smith a bit today. But before we get into that, let's address the elephant in the room. Ryan could not make it here this week. It's just going to be the two of us. We're going to be your Jay and Silent Bob, but we'll both be talking the whole time.
About Lord of the Rings.
You will have to figure out which one of us is Silent Bob and is speaking the truth. I've got my Fat Man t-shirt on, pink jacket. I figured the best way to talk about Kevin Smith is do what Kevin Smith does and dress like Kevin Smith while he talks about Kevin Smith. So, before we get into that, at the top of each show, we like to talk about things that we've been watching over the last week or so. Devin, I know you've been busy at work and you haven't had anything lately. What do you have for us today?
I finally watched something, and I'm actually so pumped for me that I did this. I tuned out Friday night. I was in such a bad mood. I'm like, you know what? I'm watching a movie, and I watched Palm Springs.
I am kind of upset with you that you watched this before me.
You haven't seen this movie yet?
I have not seen this. I want to see this.
Oh, boy.
The fact that you have watched this means that now you have to make me watch it for the podcast. Because I think if a movie's been out for a year and I haven't seen it yet, that just means you guys have to make me watch it for the show.
It's fair game. So for those of you who don't know about the movie, Palm Springs is a 2020 movie about two people being stuck in a time loop, so kind of Groundhog's Day-ish, and they develop a budding romance. It stars Andy Samberg, Kristen Milotti, and my boy J.K. Simmons. Oh man, I wasn't ready for this. I don't think I knew about the time loop going into it. I didn't know much about it other than it's called Palm Springs. It's a good movie.
I've avoided a lot about it. I know that
Did I ruin it for you?
No, I know there's a time loop Groundhog's Day type thing going on here. And that's right up my alley. I love movies like that. So I'm really excited for this. I just haven't gotten around to see it. But I like everyone you listed. So
yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of other people in it too, but those are my favorite. I mean, I don't want to ruin if we do this on the show, because we're going to do this on the show. I don't want to ruin it, but this might be my favorite rom-com. Full stop.
Okay.
I was surprised in a pleasant way, and I cannot wait to make you guys watch this because you guys have way more experience with rom-coms than I do. So I now know why I was wrong coming at you with A Marriage Story is my favorite rom-com. I get it that I'm wrong. But
because that's not a comedy.
It was hilarious when he punched that wall. Ha ha ha, memes were made.
Yes. Just because it's memes doesn't mean that it's funny.
Oh, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this. You'll have
good,
especially with the rom-com angle, because you haven't made us watch a rom-com yet, and we've been making you watch them for a while now. So eventually, when you're allowed to do picks again, which will be one day in the future,
good, okay,
you'll have to have us watch this, because I don't think Ryan has seen this either. So,
oh, even better. Yeah, I'm excited for you guys to watch this then.
Yeah. Okay. I've got a fun story to tell.
Tell me, you teased me with this story
Yes.
earlier this week, and I've been waiting all week for it.
So the new season of Rick and Morty came out, and
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate Rick and Morty. I'm not like a huge fanboy of it, like to the point where I'm at McDonald's demanding Szechuan sauce. But I appreciate Dan Harmon as a writer. I enjoy the show. So like, okay, the new season's out. Like I'm gonna tune in and check out the season premiere.
Yeah.
Devin, are you caught up on Rick and Morty?
Yeah. I saw the
Okay.
season finale of last season. I know what's going on. Yeah.
Okay. So I watched the season premiere, and they talk about this big battle at the Citadel with Evil Morty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, those bastards, they're not going to show us that. They like set it up for so long and we don't get to see it. Why would they do this? Like, are they going to come back later? Like, part of me was like, that's a bold move to be like, yeah, we're going to set this up. And then like, we don't get to see that battle. And then I looked it up. I completely missed the finale last year.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I definitely did not see the season finale of Rick and Morty for some reason. I don't know why.
So did you go back and rewatch it and it like makes sense now?
No, that would be yeah. I did.
Oh, good. Okay.
Because
good.
it was on HBO Max. So I was like, yeah, I'll go back and rewatch this, like, or just watch it, and get caught up. And I was like, I remember him with the crows, but that was in the episode before too. So I was like,
It was.
okay, I guess I just forgot about it.
So hold on, how is it now? Is because it's a big thing that happens in that finale. Is it fine now?
In the new season,
Yeah. Is it like drastically different?
they do some stuff that changes
Okay.
things. Yeah, I haven't watched the latest episode yet, but the premiere story I had to tell because I was like, oh, well, that figures.
Bold of them to do that. Well
Yeah.
done. I'm gonna catch up. I mean, I love when talking about Rick and Morty that like we feel like we have to do a disclaimer. Like, I appreciate the show. I'm not that kind of fan.
Yeah,
Like, man, just like what you like. I mean, I know that you're not screaming for Szechuan sauce in a McDonald's. Like, I'm not either. I like the show. I'll watch it.
but
Like,
occasionally I'll let out the you got to let out the occasional blub 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 dub.
you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. You've been drinking a certain amount. It
Yeah.
has to come out. I get it.
Yeah, you got to get shrifty.
It was good.
Yeah, that's what I've been watching.
Perfect.
Not much else. I've been on a big Kevin Smith kick, so we'll talk about that later in the show. But do you want to just get into today's main topic?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
dig in.
All right. So today's main topic is the 2004 film Jersey Girl, written and directed by Kevin Smith, starring Ben Affleck, Liv Tyler, George Carlin, and Jennifer Lopez. And Raquel Castro as the Jersey Girl. This film, a widower must look after his precious daughter and rebuild his life and career after he's sidelined by an unexpected tragedy and personal blow-up.
Glad I didn't read that before watching the movie.
Yeah, so this is outside of Kevin Smith's usual Viewist universe. So this is a separate universe from Jay and Silent Bob and Clerks and all of that stuff. Ben Affleck stars in this film. Devin, what did you know about Jersey Girl going into it?
I knew Ben Affleck was in it, and then you shared the poster on our group, and you shared it before I watched it and saw Ben Affleck and a little girl, and in my mind I was like, no, spoilers, Alan, stop. So like that was all I knew, is that Ben Affleck was in it, and then you had mentioned specifically that it's in kind of its own universe, like Jay and Silent Bob aren't going to come waltzing through this thing, even though I expected them to the whole time, but that's really all I knew.
Okay. I remember when this movie came out. This was 2003, 2004. This movie was making news because Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez were a huge news item on like E.T. every night. And every night after or before Friends was E.T. So I got to see all of the news reports on their relationship and Bennifer. So this movie made news because this came out after they broke up. And
did it?
Yeah, so it made news back then for that. Um, so I knew about this film since then. I did not see this until about 2020. It was on HBO Max,
Whoa.
and I had never seen it. We saw it was on there. My wife and I were like, you know what? Let's give that a shot. We like Kevin Smith,
Yeah.
and we both really liked it. There's a lot of things I like about this film. There's a lot of stuff that makes me mad about this film that we'll get into. Because there's a lot of there's a lot of things that aren't in the film that should have been, and we'll talk about that. So, what were your overall impressions of Jersey Girl?
Yeah, man, it was a movie. I mean, I don't know that there's like anything in it that I like love to death, but there's also not anything in the movie that I hate either. Like it did a good job of setting up jokes. It did a good job of telling those jokes. I really wish I had a stronger reaction for you. And I like
Okay.
tried all day to like mine that reaction. And I was like, I really hated I really loved Ben Affleck was I got nothing, man. I mean, it was a good rom-com. It really was. I thought that the meet cute was actually cute. I thought that Liv Tyler was wonderful in this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. I mean, I want to hear more of your reactions about
Okay.
this movie because I want to be swayed one way or the other.
So the biggest thing with this movie is it feels like diet Kevin Smith.
Yes,
Like
100%.
it's there. You can tell that it tastes like a Kevin Smith movie, but
Mhm.
then you're denied the Kevin Smith stuff. Because what's Kevin Smith known for? Like, if you think a Kevin Smith script, what are you expecting from that?
I mean, you're expecting like Jay and Silent Bob, like stoner humor.
Mm-hmm.
You're expecting like some crude jokes. You're expecting like the scene from Clerks 2 with a donkey. Like you're
Okay.
kind of expecting like crude and out of place humor with like a central core of a very human and very like emotionally rich story. Is what I expect from a
Okay.
Kevin Smith.
For me, it's a lot about the dialogue. A lot of like
Mm-hmm.
big moments of like the chasing Amy scene and chasing Amy,
Yeah.
like Silent Bob going off on that whole big story, and like people like just lines of like pages of dialogue for one scene,
Mm-hmm.
and you could tell that that was in this film, and they took it away.
Really?
Yeah, this so they make a big deal about Ben Affleck like losing his job as a PR guy,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which we'll talk about later because that ties into today a little bit weirdly.
Oh,
So he
strange.
would always be making speeches and like convincing the public about his clients. There comes a point in the movie where he's working in New Jersey for the township and he has to
Yeah.
convince a room full of people that their plan to fix a street is feasible.
Mm-hmm.
And they set it up so well for him to give like this big moving speech, and then it's a montage
Yeah, see, they
and
play music over it.
you don't get to see the speech. And it's like, why? Like, I want to just see that speech. Like, that's the moment that clinches the film. Like, that's the moment
Yeah.
that everything up to that point was building towards, and we don't
Mm-hmm.
get to see it. So that's part of what I hate about this movie because it's there. Like, you can tell it's there, and it
Mm-hmm.
was left on the cutting room floor, along with some other stuff. Uh,
I'm
there,
glad you know about this because
yeah.
I'd be happy to know about it.
There was a lot more J Lo in this movie, but they cut her because of their breakup.
Is that like why? Can I spoilers? I guess.
Yeah, we can
Is that
spoil it. Yeah.
okay? Is that why she passes away in the movie? Like because they broke up at that point in filming, and they're like, all right, it's awkward. We're gone.
No, I think
Oh,
that was always the plan, but
okay.
they had more of their relationship. You got to see their wedding. You got to see more of. From what I've heard, the
Mm-hmm.
original story built their relationship up more. So when that happens, you're devastated as well.
Right.
Um,
That would have been nice because I mean, there was the line in it where he was like, "You guys were married 20 years. We were married 20 minutes," and I went, "Oh, I guess they were married,
mhm.
weren't they?"
Yeah, like
And that kind of happened off screen.
I had the picture. Where'd it go? I had a picture pulled up. There's a scene of their wedding that got cut.
Oh
That
wow.
they cut. That Kevin Smith cut after they broke up. He's like, yeah, they didn't get married in real life, so I'm not gonna put
Oh,
that out there to remind them.
what a
Flash
sweet
forward to
guy.
2022. Where's the director's cut? Like,
Yeah, they're back. You had it back
um,
in.
but we'll talk about that in a bit. So you said Liv Tyler stood out to you. Anyone
Yeah.
else stand out to you, performance wise?
Is it weird that I thought they underutilized George Carlin? I think I'm so very much used to him in Dogma and
Yeah.
wanted that kind of performance from him. And he was fine. He was funny. He was George Carlin. But I wanted more, like, I don't know, vinegar from him. I wanted more salt. I don't know. I wanted more. Did you get that too, or is this perfect for you?
Uh, it's a very normal role for George Carlin because George
Hmm.
Carlin's known as a comedian, but not so much an actor. Like
Right.
outside of Kevin Smith stuff, can you name anything else that he was in?
No, not off the top of my head.
Yeah. So, um, yeah. Hold on, I had the picture.
Did you find any?
I found the picture from the wedding. Uh,
Did you?
yeah. So yeah, it's nice seeing him in a human role because I think that's what Kevin Smith wanted to give for him because he had him in Dogma, he had him in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, so he gave him like
Yeah.
this very normal role and gave him a chance to act because he has some of the best moments in the film where he's just like giving Ben Affleck crap for the way he's raising his daughter. Like you're not here.
Yeah.
Like you need to be a father now. Like your life has changed, and I get that, but you have to step up. And I think he fits that role perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
No, I mean that's true. I guess I didn't think about that because for some reason in the timeline of all of this, I thought this came before Dogma, and I guess this would be after, wouldn't it? Because Dogma, I think, is
yeah,
1999.
yeah. Dogma's 99. This was 2004.
Got it. So that makes sense then. So this is, and I like that take on it, where it's definitely a different kind of role. I think my thing is I saw him on screen and went, he's gonna be a cut up, and then he was just like normal dad, and went, oh, all right.
I think one of the strengths of this movie is that it was written for Ben Affleck. Like
What's it?
this is the height of of their friendship,
Mm-hmm.
and Kevin Smith straight up wrote this role for Ben, and it shows
Oh,
because there are moments in here like the when he takes his daughter to the theater, the look on Ben Affleck's face, like I don't think you could write unless you knew the guy.
oh, and that's exactly right. Absolutely.
And I think Ben Affleck is super charming in this.
Mhm.
I really enjoy his performance. His chemistry with Jennifer Lopez is fantastic. Like when I saw that they were getting back together in real life recently, it's like good for them. Like after watching Jersey Girl, I'm like good. Like I'm happy, and like his chemistry with Liv Tyler is just as good as it was in Armageddon, minus the animal cookies, animal crackers. So
I don't miss them. I don't miss them
yeah,
at all.
I made a joke about them when I was rewatching this to my wife. She's like, I don't get it. I was like, you've never seen Armageddon? You need to watch
Hasn't
it.
she?
She hasn't. I was like,
Get her on here. Get her on
I
here.
was
We're
like,
doing
you
it.
need to watch it just for his teeth. Uh,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%. We need her on here for it.
um, and like the other thing that I feel is left out of this version of the film
Mhm.
is the George Carlin's two friends, the one played by Stephen Root and the other one,
Fuchs.
yeah, Fuchs, and the guy from Dumb and Dumber,
Yeah.
Mike Starr. Um, like I feel like there was more for them to do in the original script, and it just got cut. And I keep
Well, they
teasing you
had
with
that. Yeah.
with like an extended cut of this. There is an extended cut of this.
Is there really?
And Kevin Smith has screened it, but he hasn't. They haven't released it on DVD.
Why not?
It's a Miramax film.
Oh, gross. Okay. Sure. Fine. Totally makes sense.
But now that Kevin Smith owns a movie theater, they will probably be doing more what he calls vulgarathons, which are just movie marathons, and that's where he's shown it before. So I guarantee
cool.
that in Highlands, New Jersey, you'll be able to see the director's cut of Jersey Girl in the near future. And when it plays, I will be going, and I will let you know what I think.
You absolutely will have to. So, in to your point about the two other people, like at one point, Ben Affleck was like, "Oh, and those two aren't your real uncles," and I feel like that was supposed to like hit more. And I was just like, "Yeah, man, they're not our uncles. They're the dad's friends."
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think you're right. There's probably something left out of the script there.
What did you think of Raquel Castro as the daughter, as the Jersey Girl?
Oh, I thought she was great. I mean, I thought her speech was wonderful. I mean, my absolute favorite scene in this movie was her sitting Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler down and going, "What are your intentions?" I loved it. That was like highlight of the movie for me. And she like, I think she nailed it. And then especially like the end when Ben Affleck shows up, she gets like that smile, like, "Oh, he did come!" Like, great. Like she nailed it.
It's not only her smile in that scene where he shows up, it's his smile too that gets me.
Yeah.
Like the just how excited he is to be there. Like the chemistry between the two of them is spot on. And to the point where I'm kind of like, I'd go for a Jersey Girl too. But yeah,
adorable.
So this film's a little bit of a different watch in 2022 for a few reasons.
Okay.
The first of which we've talked about a little bit, which is Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez.
Right.
So part of the other reason that this film kind of bombed at the box office is because they had another film that came out in 2003 called Gigli. Have you heard of Gigli?
I have, and it's supposed to be like the worst, right?
Yes. I have never seen it, but I have not heard good things about it. We might have to. Based on the reception of that, I think that also played into Jennifer Lopez's part being cut back and some of the changes that they had to make to the film. I think at a certain point it was studio's choice to make some choices to do some things with this film that I don't agree with, but
is this one of the reasons that Kevin Smith is now entirely independent? Like, because he, like, I've listened to his autobiography, and he's like, I won't work with studios anymore. I want to do my movies my way.
Part of it. So after this, he had Clerks 2.
Yeah.
And then he had, I think the big reason is Cop Out and Red State. Like, those two really drove home. Like, after Red State, he straight up retired from filmmaking.
Wow.
And he wasn't going to make another movie. And then he had the idea for Tusk and started doing what he's doing now, which is making his films and then selling them to studios to release them and like release them overseas. So
right.
if you look at Clerks 3, I think it's Lionsgate is helping distribute the film and promote it.
Oh, are they really?
So, yeah.
That's cool.
So I think I don't think Kevin Smith was made for the studio system, which is fine. Mm-hmm. I really wish there was like, this is almost like my favorite Kevin Smith movie, like just story wise, because it's not it's not the crude humor that you're used to with all of his other stuff. It's human. It's a good story. It's very well performed, and like the changes that are like everything that's cut from this film just affects it for me, and I'm like, it's good, but it could be better. It's like,
so you like very much want the like the full cut.
Oh yeah, I like that's top of my watch list of lost films is the extended cut of this. It's like tied for that and Batgirl right now. So.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And I have a better chance of seeing this 2004 Kevin Smith rom-com's extended cut than I do seeing Batgirl.
That's fair and gross.
Yes.
So, I was wondering, with this movie, like, do you like this one more than Chasing Amy? Because like Chasing Amy is like quintessential Kevin Smith. Like when people mention like his top movies and they go, well, it's not a Clerks, it's not a Jay and Silent Bob. Chasing Amy's a really good one. This one I feel like gets left out of the conversation.
I think this one gets left out of the conversation because it's not part of that universe.
Okay.
Just like the other films I mentioned, like Red State and Cop Out, don't get talked about because, one, he didn't write Cop Out. He was hired to direct that.
Oh.
And Red State, I'm not sure what happened with Red State, but it's not a comedy. It's a horror film. And
Red State's a horror film?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch this.
Yeah. I think that's why it gets left out of the conversation, and because it had so much bad press around it. Like, if it wasn't for, like, in 2004, if it wasn't for the Geely of it all, like, this film probably would have done a lot better at the box office with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez in it, and Liv Tyler, because this is right after Lord of the Rings. You've got George Carlin in here. I
mean, it's a big recognizable cast, and I feel like it would have been like, I get that you don't like Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez because of Geely, but wait, she dies. Like, that could have been the sell right there.
They tried that, and it didn't work.
Did they really?
Yeah, they actually marketed it with her dying at a certain point. Because there are posters with J-Lo on them, but they removed them. Like, she's not on the box of the DVD art. They cut her out completely from a lot of the marketing. So,
that's such a shame, because I mean, the thing is, her part is very good in this, and she plays like a very, very likable character. And I love what she represents to Ben Affleck at that point in the movie, where like New Jersey is this thing that he's ashamed of, and she goes there and she's like, oh, this is our relationship test, and she goes and she's like, I love it. Let's hang out with your dad.
Yeah, and
like that's a pivotal character moment for Ben Affleck there, and she does it well.
Yeah. Yeah, I like how she embraces the his side of his past life, like embraces his dad and his friends. Do you have that with your in-laws?
Do I embrace Romana's past?
Well, yeah. Like, do you? I know her dad comes to visit quite a bit. So
yeah. I think that there's a lot about, and I think part of it is that it's this other kind of world a little bit where, she grew up in the Netherlands in this like small town just outside of Amsterdam. And it's very easy, especially if you've like, you don't live there anymore. It's very easy to be like, ugh, small town. I'm so much better than that town I grew up in. But like, her small town she grew up in is adorable, and I really do enjoy it. And like, it's got this like nice little square called like the Cow Market, and it's just it's so cute, like this little town, and I really don't hate it at all. So I feel like definitely. But what about you? Because I know where your spouse is from.
I've embraced the food culture of Shamokin a lot.
What is the food culture of Shamokin?
It's a weird combination of Polish and Italian. Every pizza place that you go to there is different. Like,
I like that though.
You get a slice of cheese pizza, and from each place, it's gonna look and taste different.
Where's the best? I need the opinion.
Mr. Pizza.
And why is it the best?
Each slice has one piece of pepperoni on it, and the way they cut it, like a whole pie comes in 3 boxes.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sold.
Yeah, that's one of the best. But I think in our relationship, it's more of my wife embracing my side of the families and how they do things, because we live where I grew up. So it's a lot of the traditions of my family locally that she has to deal with. Like this past weekend, my friend of the show, Lou, and my sister, like his whole family throws this guitar fest, and we go every year.
Was that this weekend?
That was this past weekend. And
yeah. Shoot.
And like Anna, my wife wasn't feeling well, so she couldn't make it, and she felt weird, like this is the first one I haven't gone to. Like,
Aw.
um, so yeah, I think it's more of that with
Well,
us.
does it help you to reconnect with it? Because I feel like that's a lot of what happens in this movie. Is it helped Ben Affleck to say like, yes, this side of me is okay, even though I've been trying to avoid it. Like,
Hmm.
did that for you and your wife? Did that help you reconnect with like, okay, I don't need to hide this part of me. I don't need to bury this in the past. Like, this is an acceptable thing.
I think so. I think
Yeah,
there's a fair bit of that. So.
yeah, that's what I like. I like that, and in like relationships when you can
Hmm.
help each other. I think it's a really cool thing for a movie to do. And I was wondering, and I don't know how much of this you know, how much of that part was autobiographical for Kevin Smith? Like, do you think there ever became a point in time in his film career where he became almost embarrassed of the New Jersey part because he was so LA that he felt like he had to like, you know, hide the Jersey?
I think from what I know of Kevin Smith's life from reading his books,
Mm-hmm.
I think the autobiographical part of this is taking the wife to New Jersey and having them
Mm-hmm.
embrace New Jersey, because
Sure.
he met his wife in L.A. She was from L.A. and
Mm-hmm.
when they got married they moved to Jersey.
Oh wow.
They didn't move to L.A. until after this, I think, because they bought Ben Affleck's house.
Oh my gosh, did they?
Yeah, and they still live there. Like the house they live in
Oh,
used to be Ben Affleck's.
I
Um,
love that. I didn't know that.
yeah. Um, but so I think that's part of it. I also think
Mhm.
the film is dedicated to his dad, who passed away the year before this.
I saw that at the end, and that made me go, oh.
Yeah. So I think just the relationship between, like, just the love of a father, I think is an important part of this story.
Yeah.
Because you have it with Ben Affleck and his daughter, and you have it with George Carlin and Ben Affleck as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though they fight a lot about the way Ben Affleck is treating things, like there's still love there.
Yeah.
There's still love there. I think it's my horrible
It was
Judd Hirsch
good.
impression.
No, nope, nope. Loved it. Don't change a
All you
thing.
need is love. John Lennon, smart man, shot in the back, very sad. Uh,
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Speaking of Independence Day,
Oh, right.
this we met. So this film's weird to watch in 2022 for another reason, and that is Will Smith.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
if you haven't seen the film and you're part of the reason Ben Affleck loses his job is in 1994 or 95, I think it is in the
Yeah.
movie. Ben Affleck, as a publicist, goes off on a tangent in front of the press that the Fresh Prince is never going to have a movie career, and like everyone like blacklists him after that because Independence Day comes out like the next month.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he just gets blacklisted, and no one wants to work with him. And then you get to meet Will Smith in the movie.
I loved this scene. I really did, actually.
It it was funny to watch it now post slap.
So that's what I was going to ask. Has the slap colored your view of Will Smith at all?
I mean, probably as much at this point as Robert Downey Jr.'s mugshots. Like,
Okay.
it's a thing that happened, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to move on and like laugh about it. I don't think Chris Rock is, but
Wow. Fair. Fair.
like I think we skirted around the topic a bit when we did Independence Day over the summer. Like, it is what it is. Like, I think he's trying to own up to it. It's hard for me to judge somebody in a moment of weakness like that.
Right.
I think he can make amends. I'm curious to see what happens with his career, but it's funny, like, knowing that happened and then seeing something like this where, like, not to any fault of his own, but he's responsible for getting Ben Affleck on this path to where he is in this movie.
Yeah.
So it's just like a weird year to watch this movie, I guess.
No, I had almost the same thing too because and I asked you if it colored your opinion of it because it's one of those things where like now I can't see him and not think about it. And it's not that it was like is a bad thing. I'm not like,
Hmm.
oh, because he's very charming and he's very like he seems sincere in the movie when he talks about, fatherhood in his movies and those kinds of things. Like it seems like a very realistic conversation for him to have. He doesn't feel like he's acting too much. But you kind of think about it in the back of your mind, and I didn't know if I was alone in that.
No, I don't think you were. It's
Yeah.
definitely there. But there's other things in this movie too that you're like, oh well, okay, that's awkward now. Like Ben Affleck saying, "Oh yeah, I drove you home in the Batmobile." Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's just like kind of fun to watch this movie now because there are so many like jokes that if you've lived the last 18 years since this movie came out, like there are things that have happened since then that make this movie age better than I think if you watch this in 2004.
And I think you're right. And I think like the Batmobile thing was just kind of like a throw-in joke because Kevin Smith likes comics,
Mm-hmm.
and like now it is just ironic and funny.
Yeah, and so does Ben Affleck. Like
Oh yeah,
this is like right before he goes off and does Daredevil. So
it is, isn't it?
yeah,
Wow. So hold on, was this actually just before or just after iRobot landed too? Then.
I had to look this up. iRobot came
Yeah.
out in 2004. Before this,
Wow, he was on it then when he
yeah,
wrote that. Good job.
I think he was probably like, hey, you got anything coming out next year? Like, what's your next thing? I got this robot movie. Okay,
Throwing robot movie.
it's got Alan Tudyk in it. Alan, what now? Um, yeah. Okay, there's something else I was really excited to get your reaction to in this
Yes, yes, yes,
movie,
yes.
and it has to do with this.
Okay. I was if you didn't bring it up, I was going to. Okay, so
Oh, I forgot. We're an audio podcast. Uh,
oh right.
in the film, Ben Affleck's daughter, Gertie, wants to go see Cats on Broadway. Cats is closed. It closed. That was actually part of the script too. Like they originally were going to do Cats, but
Mhm.
they couldn't go see it because it was closed. So he had to rewrite it and made it Sweeney Todd. He takes his daughter to see Sweeney Todd, not knowing what Sweeney Todd was, because Sweeney Todd, the movie with Johnny Depp, was not a thing in 2004. I think that actually
Right.
came out in 2005.
I think it was like right after though.
Yeah. Um, so Ben Affleck, you get to see Ben Affleck's character, Oliver, react to seeing Sweeney Todd. What did you think of the Sweeney Todd scene in this?
I love Sweeney Todd. I'm a bit of a musical nerd sometimes. I'm actually going to go see Phantom of the Opera in West End this weekend if it gives you any sense of how much of a nerd I am. So I loved that Sweeney Todd was in this, got so excited about it. I Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. First, when they bring up Cats and that Cats is closed down, they talk about this one because she goes, I want to see this. And he goes, well, there's not a lot of talking. There's a lot of singing in this. Then he makes the joke. One time, because Daddy lost a bet, he had to go see a musical with people on roller skates. Did he have to watch Xanadu? Is that what that was?
I don't think it was Xanadu.
Okay.
It was another one. I think he said the name of it.
Did he? Because if he did, I missed it. And maybe my mind just went, oh, Xanadu, and like I couldn't hear anything else after like Olivia Newton-John popped into my head, which I mean happens.
I feel like he said what it was, and I can't think of the show. Um,
I'll have to look it up then,
yeah,
because yeah, if he said it, because I mean Xanadu is something that I'm going to get you to watch very very soon. So just you wait for that. Um, the other part that I really liked about, I mean, the musical through line I thought was very fun. I liked his reaction to it, especially when they get to the meat pies song and you see what Sweeney Todd's doing. I thought that was a fun
yeah.
little like, because I've had that with my dad before, where like my dad let me see something that he thought would be fine, and then about halfway through went, oh no, what am I introducing my son to? And then I love that they performed that song at the musical, but my favorite part of it all was, and now here's so and so and their mom with memories from
Yeah.
Cats.
Um,
That's the only thing that Cats is good for is memories.
and again, something else, a joke that's aged better in 2022. The musical that I think he was alluding to was Starlight Express.
Even better. Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the scene where they recreate God That's Good from Sweeney Todd in front of the elementary school kids is fantastic. Because, it's a hymn.
Yeah, exactly.
Like even with this not being like a film like Dogma, he gets a religion joke in there, and it works so well. I didn't realize that Liv Tyler could pull off. What's the character's
Mrs.
name?
Lovett?
No, not Mrs. Lovett.
No, it wasn't Mrs. Lovett.
What's the kid's name? Tobias.
Tobias, right. So hold on. Was that actually her voice?
I think so. I really think
too.
so.
I mean, there were definitely moments of it where it felt 80 yard, but I couldn't tell if it was like 80 yard Liv Tyler or 80 yard somebody else. And I would have believed it either way. I mean, Ben Affleck felt very authentic, and the kid felt very authentic as well.
It looks like it was all of them singing it. So
I love that.
On IMDb, under the soundtrack, it has all of the cast listed.
That's fun.
But
no, I love that they did that scene. And side note, you and I have grown up in an elementary school that does a similar style of talent show.
Yeah.
Did it make you mad that everyone had their parents involved too, and that like that level of set design and that level of effort would never have flown in our elementary school?
I mean, my parents helped me with my set in elementary school.
Did they tell me?
No,
I don't know this.
Not like an actual set. Like I did a comedy routine, and they helped me with my set.
Did you do a comedy routine?
And I definitely don't have the VHS just laying around here for me to...
Give us a taste. Give us a...
I don't remember. It was a top 10 list. So I just straight up ripped off Letterman. And I didn't even know who Letterman was. I might have to pull that.
You're gonna have to pull that.
I have it. I just haven't had the nerve to digitize it yet.
That's what I love about your like family life, going back to like that in the movie. You have everything from your childhood. Mm-hmm. I have gone through periods of my life where I'm like, it's gone. Marching band stuff, gone, in the trash. And now, like, as an adult, I'm like, I wish I saw me marching as a kid. So, like, yeah, I'm glad you still have that. It's on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm going to have to find it.
I think so. I might have to look. Anything else, Jersey Girl, you want to talk about?
Let me think about it for a second. Okay, so part of it did actually hit me pretty hard, or resonate a bit with me, and that was specifically his decision between, hey, I have this interview to jumpstart my career. I'm going to start to live the life that I want to lead again, versus, me staying in Jersey, staying with the kid. And that hit me hard, particularly because of what I've been doing a lot with work lately. So work has been very, 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 much. There's been a lot of it. And there have been times in my life recently where I've had to choose between, do I want to choose to do this thing with my home life, or should I put in more hours of work to meet the deadline? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be honest. I think that at this point in my life, if I was Ben Affleck, Will Smith wouldn't have talked me out of it. I would have gone to the interview, and then if I had time for, or time to make it, I would have made it. And if not, I'm so sorry, but look at all the money your dad's going to make now, and that'll even out in the wash. And that was hard for me to realize that I wouldn't have made the same choice as Ben Affleck, because Ben Affleck's making objectively the right choice there. How did you react to that? Did you have the same kind of thing?
No, I think my main reaction to that is just call and reschedule the interview. Like, it's that simple. Like, I think.
But, was this so fraught? Because he's blacklisted, and this is like the one shot that he's got.
And I think if somebody is willing to give you a shot like that, and you have to say, I greatly appreciate it, but this time does not work for me. Is there any other time that works for you that's not this time? Like, not asking for a specific time to suit your needs, but any other time.
Yeah.
I just can't do this night at this time because I have to be there for my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where I would have gone with it, but one of my things in life is I don't want work to overtake everything. I've made a conscious effort of that since I was young to like make sure that family life and work life are two separate things that one doesn't intrude on the other in a negative way too often. But at the same time, I completely understand like your situation. Like you're at this company only for a few years now, and you're like building up your position and like needing to build your career. And I absolutely get that. And I respect that. It's just trying to make sure that having a more balanced work home life is the way I try to lean.
And I think that's a really good call. So you're saying that like in this situation, you definitely would have like gone, like you would have taken the same route that Ben Affleck did.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very noble, and I aspire to be that one day. I absolutely do. But I got to tell you, at that scene specifically, I genuinely thought that it was gonna be one of those like, this isn't really a choice that matters things, because of how well he got on with Will Smith and then said, I'm a publicist. I thought that Will Smith was going to walk up to the office and go, I want that dude that was in the lobby. He was going to get this Jersey girl, and he was going to get, that job, and he was going to commute to work from Jersey, is where I thought it was going.
Yeah. I mean, it could have. Who knows? Jersey Girl 2 pitch. Hear me out.
Oh, God. Tell me.
Will Smith does get him as his publicist at the end of this.
Okay.
And then the whole story is around the Oscars 2022.
You see Ben Affleck off to the side, just slap Chris Rock whenever he's up there. Just do it. Just slap.
No. And then, like he's just watching in.
Gotcha.
He's just watching in horror, and it's Ben Affleck just staring at the camera, and all you hear is "Hello, darkness, my old friend," and the camera pushes in, and it's just sad Affleck again.
Oh. Yep. Okay. I'm on board for that one.
That's my pitch for Jersey Girl 2.
Kevin Smith is going through and making sequels to all his movies. This one could happen.
He is, and I'm glad you brought this up because I wanted to share this information with Ryan for this show, but he's not here, so I'm gonna have to send him the clip of this.
Okay.
I teased you guys a few weeks ago that I had some Kevin Smith news I wanted to drop to you. On his press tour for Clerks 3, Kevin Smith has announced a sequel to one of his films that we have covered on this show. Do you want to take any guesses on what sequel Kevin Smith has announced, Devin?
Is it Jay and Silent Bob 5?
No.
Disappointed about that. Is it Chasing Amy?
No. You get one more guess.
Dogma.
No. It's
what is it?
Tusk.
What? Wait, hold on. Is it the Moose one?
No. It's a direct sequel to Tusk, where they rehabilitate Justin Long out of the walrus suit, and then he becomes a guy who turns people into walruses. It's what happens to this guy 10 years after this traumatic event. Like, what's his life like? Like, Kevin Smith compared it to the Two-Face like the Two-Face story in Batman, where they fix his face, but he still looks in the mirror and sees how he just sees himself as completely deformed. It's that, but with Justin Long from Tusk.
Oh my gosh!
You want to know what the title is?
What?
Tusks. Just add the S with the money sign, dollar sign at the end. Yeah.
There are times when I really, really, really love Kevin Smith, and this is one of them. I mean, just the sheer just cojones where he's just like, I'm doing it. Tusks, it's happening.
It's not his next movie, but his second to next movie. His next movie, he is filming at his movie theater he just bought.
What's his next movie?
It is the 415 movie. It's about a bunch of kids in the 80s going to the movies.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know who that is. Somebody's calling me, and I don't recognize the number.
Strange.
But yeah, so he bought this movie theater where he's going to be doing a bunch of screenings of stuff and a bunch of shows, a film festival, live podcasts. And it's only like 3 hours away from me, so I will be frequenting this theater quite a bit, I think.
It's dangerous.
Just for top of the list to see there, though, movie-wise, is Jersey Girl Director's Cut.
Are you going to see Clerks 3 there?
No, I am not going to. I'm glad you brought up Clerks 3.
Are you going to see Clerks 3 at all, though?
Yes.
Okay,
I have a busy week. It is so the way they are releasing Clerks 3 in the States is Kevin Smith is on tour with it, where you can go to a theater and he does a Q&A afterwards. He's there watching the movie with you. I think Jason Mewes is with him. They're calling it the Inconvenience Tour. The other way they are releasing it, and this is why we're doing it this week, is they're doing the Fathom event screenings at theaters nationwide. And so it started off as 2 or 3 nights this week, and now they've made it every night this week. They are showing this movie because the demand was so high for it. Pun intended.
Good.
So I plan on going Saturday night.
Good.
But yeah,
I want to see it, but I think it's not very widely distributed here.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a couple of select theaters in London area that are playing it at some very, very inconvenient for me showtimes. So I'm going to try to figure out how I can get this to work because I really want to see this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's touring it over there, but I think they're doing the Fathom Events thing there too.
I think they are. It's what it seems like, because I looked up showtimes and it's really just like 1 or 2 showings a day at these like indie theaters. Like I can't go see it at like, an Odeon or a Pathé here.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this. Clerks 2 is one of my favorite Kevin Smith films, and I'm going to rewatch it tonight. Seems like a good day to watch Clerks 2 with stuff going on, but yeah, I'm excited for this. Probably going Saturday, if not sooner. But yeah, I'm going to go see it.
You'll have to at least bring it up next week
I will.
On We Watch This, because I really got to know if it's as good as I hope it's going to be.
Oh, that's part of the reason I'm doing it is just for We Watch This. And I think I'm doing a review of it with Victims and Villains as well. So
oh, cool.
You get to hear my detailed thoughts.
I saw the trailer for it, and it looks like there's a lot of... This one does seem a little bit autobiographical.
Oh,
and
definitely.
It seems like there's a lot of heart put into this one.
That's a lot of what I heard is, from Kevin Smith and from reviews, is that this is like his story. Like this is him telling the story of his heart attack and his start making Clerks. So
yeah, I can't wait to watch it. I gotta watch it.
Yeah, you have to watch it.
I see what you did.
Yeah. Anything else before we wrap this up?
No, that was my big one. Was the job thing. So no.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that does it for this week's You Have to Watch This podcast. If you have not yet, go over to our Instagram and check out the Hocus Pocus post. We are giving away a Hocus Pocus poster to someone who follows us and comments on the post. So go comment, follow us there, and enter to win the Hocus Pocus 2 teaser poster. Next week would usually be Devin's pick, but because Devin had 3 picks in a row with Lord of the Rings last month, Devin's on timeout. So
I deserve it.
We have a guest joining us next week from Nerf Herders Assemble, and my fellow Marvel correspondent from Victims and Villains, Josh Howell, will be here, and we'll be talking about the Raid 2.
Interesting.
Devin, have you seen The Raid or The Raid 2?
No, I didn't even know there were movies.
Yes. I think they're right up your alley. So,
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to be doing my homework and watching both Raid films for next week.
Me too.
So join us for that. Ryan should be back with us next week as well. So to make sure that you're here to join us next week live, follow us on Twitch, like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, or if you want, you can listen to our podcast on all major podcasting platforms the next day. Shows drop on Wednesday. You can also visit rumrunnerspodcastnetwork.com to visit our site and all of the other wonderful Rum Runners Podcast Network podcasts. Until next time, for You Have to Watch This podcast, I'm Alan.
And I'm Devin.
God, that's good.